But then what to expect for this webinar. So you probably, I mean, you're here, you want to improve your marketing game, website, landing page. We got you for all that. So what we're going to do today is first we're going to talk about just getting set up in Travefy. So we are going from the very beginning. Scott was mentioning this on the last webinar, but we never start from complete scratch on webinars like we're doing today. So what's really cool about that is you're going to be able to watch this recording in the future or after this, and then you can actually like press pause when you want to, follow along with me and press pause, and you have that option. That's how we wanted to build this. We usually don't structure it in this way, so it's going to be really helpful for those who are setting up brand new stuff. But also, if you're already a user, this is just as helpful as well too. So we're going to just talk about getting set up. And then we're going to walk through the website basics, how it works. And then that's where I'm going to do build a website. So we're actually going to build a website together, just a really simple website for your business. But then additionally, I'm going to talk about those power tools. So things like SEO, domain masking, and so much more. And if you don't know what those are yet, stay tuned. You will learn. So there's going to be a lot of features sprinkled in that I'll be talking about in there. And then I do just want to give a really quick tour of landing pages, because you'll hear us talk about website and landing pages, and I'll explain the difference and how you can use those as well. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in here. Okay, so I'm going into, I accidentally had something open here, but I have this brand new account here, and I did go with Stephanie Grease. So if you were on our last webinar, this was Scott's contact that he was working on. So I had to use it. So this is what you'll see when you first log in and you first start a trial, which we'll show you how to do that at the end. This is what you're going to see. One thing that I do want to quickly share though is when you are in here, you can click on profile, and this will actually pop up when you are first starting, because we're really going to try to be like, put in your information. And the reason why this is important is just because this is going to be where your client sees us. So when they open any trip that's shared with you, they will see this part. Now, this won't have anything really to do with the website builder, but if you connect trip to it, to your website, which you'll see how that's done, that's where this will come into play. So I want to point that out there, since this is a brand new account. But now, to actually get to the website builder, what you're going to do is you're just going to click on your name in that top right-hand corner there, and then click website. So if you're already an existing user, you have this. This is already in there, which is really cool. And then what's also really nice is we have themes for you. So we have 4 different themes, and it's going to look like this. So if you want to go ahead and click, view demo of either of these themes, you can do that. You can just take a look and see what they're looking like. But before I go into, well, actually, no, I'm jumping ahead. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and choose one of these themes. But again, you can click one of these buttons. You can click view demo, get an idea of what it's looking like. So choose one that, fits your brand. I love the Santorini theme a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that theme. Now, here's something that's great. You can always switch it. A lot of website builders, you kind of get stuck with it, but not in here. So in here, you can actually go into the settings of your website builder. Here's what it looks like. And you can click on theme and you can switch them. So if you want to put together your website and then choose your theme towards the middle or end of you putting this together so you can get a good feel for it, you can do that. So you can definitely change those out as much as you want. But to take a quick step back, now you can see how you get into the website builder and seeing, what it's looking like. But here's the thing that I want to say about the website builder is a website builder in Travefy is dead simple to use. We always like to say that it is so simple to use. It can be very basic. And that's what I'm going to do today, because I want to keep it simple. I want to show you how easy this can be. But then you can also add a lot more to it. So you can do both. And then what's really great is if you already have a website, you can still use this for your marketing tools. So I see a lot of advisors that already have websites, but they'll use these for maybe a separate part of their business or just to market specific trips. Really, there's endless, the sky is the limit type of a thing where you can still use this for all of that. Or of course, it could be your main website as well. To give you an example, so just to see, so you know what to expect with this, I have 2 examples of real life agents who've created websites in here. And look at this. So you can see this is what they've created with our website builder. And you'll see how a lot of this starts coming together as I build it with you. But check this out. I mean, it's so cool. We have this, they can view an itinerary, contact this agent. There's like an about them section. Same thing with this one. This is a really good example. This website is more, it has a lot of information, but you can see there's not a ton going on that you can choose from. But then this one has a lot more as well. So it gives you an idea that if you have a lot of different things you want to put on a website, you can do that. But if you also want to keep it really simple, you can do that too. So I love this. I think these are just really cool examples that you can definitely share or see and look at how their branding comes in. So that's the other thing that I love about this is there's a theme and a way that you can make this fit your brand every time. So that's what's really cool.
Yeah, the other thing I would mention with that Stephanie's touching on there is a lot of travel advisors that I chat with, maybe their host agency or consortia supply some type of very standardized web page listing or website for them. And although it's very turnkey, meaning that they really don't have to do a lot outside of plugging a few details, everything is very templated and canned. It looks very much the same. One of the things we tried to spend a lot of time building into is to keep it very simple, but also very flexible so that you can insert in different colors, different graphics, different visuals, so that even though you may be using the exact same template as another user on Travefy, they still look very distinct and very unique. It doesn't look like the same thing someone else has. So we've tried to build that flexibility into the website builder.
Yeah, it's really important to note because that's what's great is another thing a lot of times people think is they're like, well, is this going to look just like everyone else's website? No. As you can clearly see here, these are very different. You know, they have different colors, different branding in there. So yeah, great point there. But now that you've seen what it can look like, let's build one together. So I'm going to start off with the basics here. So the first thing I want to do is you can see here, well, I'm gonna close out of that, but here's what it's looking like so far. And this is, I've just started. So when you first start and choose a theme, you're gonna get all of these elements and these are what each one of these items is called an element, which we'll go deeper into. But basically this is what will always give you right away. And to be honest, this is probably more than what you need. So you can also delete ones out, of course, add your own elements that you want. And that's really what's going to make your website look so much different than everyone else's. And that's what Scott was saying, how there's so much flexibility in this to put what you need. So we'll go through that together as well. But the first thing I do want to add is I just want to go ahead and put in my logo because you can see that little logo in the top right or left hand corner here. So that's in my nav bar. So I can just click on that. And then over on the right hand side is where you'll be able to edit. So that's how it's going to work too. So again, super simple. You're going to see what you're building on the left, and then you can edit everything on the right by just clicking on it and then editing. So I'm going to start off by adding a logo here. So I do want to mention that with a logo, I can just click in here and I'm going to upload one. So I'm going to choose on the upload option. But for logos, we definitely recommend putting a horizontal logo in. And then for the dimensions, do 600 by 150. That will work the best. And if you can make it transparent PNG, we do have an FAQ on these dimensions, by the way. So don't worry, you don't have to try to remember and write it down. But
And if you're not an expert with making changes to your logo, that's okay. There are free tools out there to walk you through that or to help you with that. I saw one attendee a little bit earlier ask like, hey, can I use Canva? Separate from the context of that question, Canva is a free tool that you can use to actually like edit or change graphics, re-crop and things like that and export out a transparent PNG. And to define what Stephanie means by transparent PNG. With that means you wouldn't have a white background. You could have just the logo and you would actually be able to see through the spots in it that wouldn't have white. You could actually see the color behind it that way.
Yeah. And I actually made a mistake, but this is kind of helpful to see that this is not PNG. So see how that white is back there. So yeah, I meant to have that, but I was testing it with a white background. So it fooled me. But so I'm just going to change that there, but you can see in there what that would look like. And again, let us know too, if you ever have questions about that, let us know, we're happy to help kind of walk you through that. But yeah, so just adding that in there. And then the other thing that's really helpful is if I click on edit page here, there's another option where you can add the favicon in there as well. So if I click on theme here, I can add that favicon. So now what a favicon is, and this is also what's going to help brand this website, is the favicon is what appears in that browser tab. So see, like in Travefy, we have that little paper airplane logo. That's the favicon. You can see that with these ones as well, that there's different favicons going on. So I actually have a favicon ready. So I'm just going to go ahead and upload that in here. And now for a favicon, the dimensions, it's small. So it's going to be 96 by 96. So it is going to be a very small, graphic.
And just to note, because there are a few things in here, if you're like a fava what?
Yeah.
what is this thing? So the favicon, I apologize, Stephanie, I missed if you mentioned this, in your little browser tab at the top, that's the little icon that's displayed there. So that's why it needs to be 96 by 96. This is a nice to have, but it's really what I would call table stakes. This is very standard across the internet. You add that icon in for branding, professionalism, continuity in there. So it's worth the time. A couple tips: do not, because I see every now and then I see someone do this. Do not just take your logo and cram it down to 96 pixels. It's not going to look good. So what I would recommend, if you have what I would call a mark, like a graphic or a symbol in your logo, crop down to just that, and it needs to be square. It cannot be wide. It cannot be tall. It needs to be square, 96 by 96. The other thing, I would not use a photo for that.
Yeah.
It's going to be literally smaller than your fingernail. People will not be able to see it. Really has to be just a very stylized, generalized graphic or part of your logo that's very easy to recognize in there. So you want to keep it simple. So just a few pro tips with that.
Yeah, and you can see here, like my example of the Jet Set Go travel agency, I just pulled in the logo, like the one little icon of it. Same thing with Travefy. We just put the paper plane.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a great way to think of it too. But yeah, favicon, I like that. Like it's a nice to have, but obviously you don't have to have that. Another thing I'm going to point out here really quick is you can also change the theme color. So this is another step of really just branding it to your own. So of course you select a theme, but you can also add your own color into it. So I'm going to see how it's like the purple. So I pulled that purple from like the Jet Set Go logo. And you can see now that I start to get this color in different areas. So like these buttons, the text. So that's also a really fun way to just really figure out like what your branding will look like on this website. So you can always change that. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this. And now you can see, we have our logo, the favicons there, and that coloring in there. But now for probably the most important step is the elements. So you heard me talk about this. You're probably like, what is an element? So an element is each of these pieces. So for example, your great story starts here. This is called a hero because it's a hero graphic. It just has an image and text. It's just drawing you in. So we typically recommend, putting that at the top. You don't have to. You could have you could have this at the top instead. So that's the other thing. And then we have like these, we call them A sides. Where there's text and photos. I will get to this one, but where you can pull in trips, and then call to actions at the bottom, things like that. But I'm actually going to remove out a couple of these because again, I want to make this example today so simple because a lot of times you probably don't even need this much information. So I'm just going to select some of these and remove them out so you can see how I do this. If you just click on that element you want to remove, right-hand side, click those little three dots there and you can delete them. So that's how you're able just to go ahead and delete those if you want. And then when you want to add new ones in, you just click that new element button at the top here. And then you can go through and look at, I love this. I think this is so cool. You can see, and they'll be customized based off of the theme you chose, but you can see, all the different options you can do. So there's like, you can just put an image in. If you want to do like an image carousel, you can do that. You can put these different card galleries that we have, and you can use these for all different ways. Like for example, the medium card gallery could be, if you have a team of agents and you want to show each of them, or if you want to say, here's what I specialize in, or here's reviews. I mean, it's endless. You can do So
Yeah.
many things in there.
Oh, yeah. And a couple common use cases, especially for like that medium card gallery that we see, you see some agents, maybe they want to put their accreditations or affiliations with host agencies, consortia, associations, things like that. They'll actually use that medium card gallery, put the logos in there, and then put, you know, quick descriptions of any of that in there. Or maybe it's a suppliers, your preferred suppliers and brands, destinations, a lot of different ways you can use that.
Yeah, it's a good point too. Yeah, your preferred ones, the destiny. I mean, yeah, so many things you can do in there. But so those are all those new elements, but I'm just going to stay with these ones in here for now. But I do want to show you, I'm going to start off with this hero because it is really important, you know, with your navigation bar at the top here in your hero, it's the first thing that your clients will see, whether they're mobile or on the computer. So what you can do is just go ahead and click in here. And then I'm just gonna add some information here for you, just so you can see what this would look like when you start customizing it. But I'm pretending like I am specializing in family travel. So that's kind of what I'm going to go with here today. So what I'm going to do is I just typed in, you know, your great family vacation begins here. So a great example would be just a really short sentence or something really short, you know, in there. Something, again, you're just trying to get their attention in there. So you also don't have to have a subheading. So if you don't want to have that, you don't have to have that. So any little areas you see here, you can always leave those blank, and that's totally fine. But then I can also change this image. And now what's really cool with the images, and you'll see this throughout all the different elements, when you have the option to add an image, you can use our free stock photos. So we do have thousands of free stock photos that you can choose from. You can also upload your own. So if you have your own images to upload, you can. You can also pull from a website or copy from a website as well. But I'm going to use our database of photos because I love these photos. And here's why. The reason why is, well, first of all, they're free to use. They're just stock photos, but they're also high quality. So if somebody came to my website and had a giant screen or a small screen, it's going to look good. It's going to fit all of those. So that's why I really like using these photos here.
And also to note, with the photos that are built into the themes, you are free to use those as well. Those are copyright free photos that are already stock in the themes. So if you really like it, like we've handpicked, professionally designed these themes, handpicked the photos to make them look good. So if you like what's there, you can use it.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of times those photos already fit the theme. So makes it kind of easy. Really nice there. But yeah, so then you can go ahead and do that. Now you can always add buttons, which we'll get into here, but you can see that option is already available. But I'm just going to go ahead and save this because this is all I want. You know, I just again want to captivate them. So that's where I'll have that hero image. And again, that's what we call this element is the hero. But then down below, I'm going to use this option, this element right here called the A side. And it's just where you have text on one side and a photo on the other. We have an element that's reversed as well. So then that way the text displays on the left side instead. So you can choose that. But what I want to use this area for is I just want to show what are my specialties, because again, we're making a very simple, basic website. And I want to make sure if you come to my website, you're knowing what I do. So I'm going to go ahead and in this heading, I am just going to put, I'm going to do family travel. So I'm just going to say family travel. I'm just going to keep it really general and simple. For my subheading, I want to just put, and again, you don't have to use a subheading, but I just want to say, you know, make memories to last forever. Just really want to tug at their heartstrings there. So then what I'm going to do is in this description, I'm just going to go ahead and say booking trips for, you know, all-inclusive sun and sand, cruises, U.S. destinations. And you don't have to do it this way. This is just an example of how I'm doing it. But you could also put like a blurb in there. You could also use like that medium card gallery to do this. So I could have done that as well and put like all-inclusive. This is what I'm specializing in. It's the same thing if you specialize in river cruises. This is going to look a little different, or, you know, all-inclusive destination weddings. But this is a really good spot though, at the top, close to the top of the page, where you have the option to just show them what you're specializing in. The other thing I want to do is I do want to change this image. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into this image gallery, and I am just going to type in family. So maybe on this case, you might actually have, you know, a picture from maybe your own or from some of your clients that you've used before. And I'm just going to say save. And there we go. So look at what this is looking like so far. It's all coming together and it's so quick and easily. That's the best part about all this. Now, the last element that I'm going to do in here is we have this call to action at the bottom. We call it a call to action because it's the one thing that we are trying to grab their attention. And this is the one thing we want them to do if they're coming here. So it's literally calling them to an action. And the action that I'm calling them to is I'm going to put in a form. So that way we can get information. So when someone comes to my website, they're ready to book with me. They go here and then they start filling out that form, and then I can talk to them and start planning for them. So what I'm going to do is in here, I am going to just click on here again, and then on the left-hand side, I can start adding things. Now I'm going to come back and change this heading and subheading, but I just want to quickly get into the forms really fast. And if you are not familiar with forms, so forms is built into your Travefy account. So you can create a form for anything, even credit card authorization, but you can't put that on the website. It does have to be, a general form, nothing with secure information. But basically what's really great about this is you just click add a button, and then you can say button type. Now there's different ways you can do this. So you can send them to another link, or if you want them just to email you from here, they can do that too. So you can just click email address, but then there's the other option for form. And this is the beauty of having a website builder in Travefy is it's syncing with everything, including those forms. So I can click form. Now I can say import from Travefy. So I do have a form that I've already built, or you can just create a brand new one here. So you can just click new form and start building it. So you don't have to go out into the form builder. You can just build it right here in one place, which is so cool. So I'm just gonna put in, I'm gonna give this a title here. So I just wanna build a very simple one just so you can see how this works. And if you might have already seen Scott do this earlier today. So he did a very great walkthrough of, how you do that in the last webinar. But really simple, you can add text or an image only at the top. So if you ever want to do that, but I'm just going to start adding some questions because again, just keeping this simple. This is just their entry into starting to work with me. So I'm just going to say, what is your name? And then it's a short answer. I'm requiring it. You can give additional text if you want as well, but that's all I want. I'm going to add another one here and just say, what is your email? And then here's one thing that's really cool is you can also choose the formatting. So highly recommend doing that. If you're asking for phone or email, you can choose that format. And that way we will intuitively know if they haven't filled something out correctly. So if the email isn't in like an at something format, we'll be like, whoa, can't move forward until that's fixed. So really great there. And then the last thing I'm going to add is I'm just going to say, where would you like to go? That's probably the most important thing is you need to know this information. So I'm going to go ahead and choose long answer for this one. So that way they can put in as much information as they want, or maybe they don't have to. So I'm not going to require it because at the end of the day, I really just want this lead. I want the contact information so I can start reaching out to them. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and say, okay, done. And of course, if you want to add more questions, you certainly can. So I'm just going to say done. Now for this, I'm going to, for the button, and right now it just says button, but I'm going to say begin here. And I'm going to click save. And then that heading, so that heading I can change really quick. I'm just going to say start planning your trip. And I'm going to leave out the subheading. So I'm just going to leave it like this. Click save. And ladies and gentlemen, we have just built a website.
Boom.
So easy. Yes,
it's that easy.
It's so easy. But a couple things though, I will show you a couple more little tips. But before I do that, Scott, did you have anything to mention about like the form?
No, one thing Tony mentioned in the comments is that where you put the contact form, she actually links to her Calendly page.
Smart.
And so if you're not familiar, Calendly, there are different services out there, but Calendly, so literally spelled like calendar, but Lee, Calendly. It's an app or a service you can use to allow people to kind of self-schedule appointments with you. Lots of different services out there, but that's another great tool and a great use case where instead of button type being a form, you could choose external link and just link to that Calendly page. So someone comes to your website, clicks contact me, and just you push them to a scheduling form to schedule a date and time for a consultation, phone call, meeting, whatever it might be. So that's a great point, Tony.
Yeah, I love that. I see a lot of people do that. And if you were on our webinar yesterday too about with just productivity and starting your business and stuff, that was a big one to do the Calendly so you have blocks of time that you can schedule those calls with people. So excellent idea. I love that. Now, one thing I also want to point out is the footer down here. So we talked about the navigation bar. So the navigation bar up here, now that we've started to add things to our website, you can come up here and start to make sure these buttons go to certain places. So you can make these buttons go to a different part of the page, which is what I'm going to do. But you can also make them go to external links. So if you want to go to like your Calendly link, you could, or you can build multiple pages in Travefy. So I could build a page in here that's just all about all-inclusive planning. And then that way I will be able to link it in here. So that way it all comes together. So it's a website that has multiple pages basically. But how you do this, really simple. Just again, click on that element. And then on the right-hand side, you can go ahead and just click that pencil button. So you can say, so page section, that means that it's going to go to another area here. So I'm going to put this to, family travel. So that was this one right here. So we'll just say that we want it to go there, and I can change it. The about, you can change that wording. The other thing you can do is you can also add, links for social media. So that's a great place to put it down in the footer. So a lot of times you'll see in the footers, people will have their links to social media. So you can add those too. So you would just do add item, and then you're just going to put a button actually. So it'll be a button. And then you can put choose. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. That was incorrect. It will actually be that external link, because then once you choose external link, you'll be able to choose if you want an icon. So you don't have to have an icon, but we do have them built in. So it makes it easy, makes it really nice. And then just go ahead and put the link URL in there, text if you want to, but again, it's already an icon, so you don't have to. And then that way you can put those together. So that's the other thing. Another thing I want to mention here too is right now it says that down here, there's not a name. So you can put your company name in here. So I'm just going to say family travel planning. And then when you put your company name down there, then it'll appear. So it'll say copyright of family travel planning 2022. So that's what's really cool. So you can definitely another layer of branding in there. Now, one more thing that I want to show you with elements before I move any further is, again, since this is in your Travefy account, it's going to connect to your forms. It's also going to connect to your trips. So one thing that we see that a lot of people do, and I showed those on these examples in here, they have them as well, that you can link to trips that you create. So if you want to build an itinerary in your Travefy account in here, and you want to make it like just a simple all-inclusive or whatever it might be, or maybe you're booking something and you want to go ahead and put the example itinerary of what that would look like, and you can add those in here. Now what you would do is I would recommend doing it this way, where you click new element. So you're going to add a new element here, and then in here you can choose the trip gallery. So you can use other ones because you can just make it buttons to stuff, but I recommend this is the easiest way. Do trip gallery and then drag and drop it over. That's all you do. So you can just drag and drop them in. And then in here, you can give it heading. So we can say, example, I'm going to say now booking, just to give them some excitement, or you could say sample itineraries to view, or again, you don't have to put that in there. But we automatically have 3 little cards in there. And so if you don't want all of those, you can delete them out. You can also add as many as you want. So you have an unlimited amount of cards. So if you want to have 20 cards in there, go for it. So I'm just going to keep this one, but I want to pull a trip in because I want to show you how this works. It's so cool. So I have already built a trip in my Travefy account. So it's already in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this pencil icon right here. And then in here, what I can do at the bottom, I can fill this information out. But before I spend time filling this out, I can actually just click import from Travefy. And then I can choose, is it a library item? Is it a trip? It's a trip in this case. And then you can see I only have one trip in this account right now. So otherwise you would see all of your trips listed out. So then you can search for them really quick. But I just want to do this family vacation to NYC. So I'm going to click on that. And then notice everything populates. So it's going to pull in that cover photo and all that good stuff. It also automatically put pricing in here because I had pricing already on this trip, but you don't have to have that. You can change that. You can remove this badge, or you can also put something else in there. So you can do all kinds of stuff. I love that badge. If you ever just want to have like something quickly calling out, or, you know, maybe the dates that this is traveling, like if it's a river cruise or something. And then you can also put that description in here if you want. You can change the image. But otherwise, that's all you do. So it's so cool. I love how you're able to just go ahead and put that in here. Makes it really easy. But here's where it all comes together and you're like, wow, that's cool. Is you can always see what you're doing by clicking the preview button here. And then see how it shows you. So it's showing me on my desktop view. You can also view this, what it would look like for mobile. And I love this feature because most people are actually looking at their mobile phone when they're viewing things. So then they can click in here and then notice here's what it did. It just pulled up my itinerary in there, and there's a contact button at the top. So again, another lead magnet right there that they can contact you. The other thing with the forms as well, in here, you can remember how we created that form together. I can click that button and then notice how the form stays in the window. It's so cool. It's just so nice how all of these just work together. And so hopefully that's what you're seeing here is how it all works together and all the customization you can do. Now, 3 more things I want to touch on, and then we'll get into some Q&A here, is I also want to briefly talk about SEO. So SEO is search engine optimization. So basically when someone searches Google's, you know, family travel, New York City, I want them to find me. So this is how they're doing that. So what they would do is if I click edit, I'm just going to edit this page. This is where we began at, where we started adding everything. But you can see over here, there's this SEO and social. So SEO and social, this is very, very important to do. But feel free, you can save this for the end, but this is really important to do because this is, again, going to help your website get found when people are Googling for information, or Google or Bing, or just searching for information. So one thing you can do is you can put that site description in here. Now, I might let Scott kind of explain this because he's SEO really good, like very good at SEO. But can you, I'm not even try. Can you explain like a really good example of what you would put in there?
Yeah. Just so you guys know, I'm SEO like really good. So that's my qualification, my certification level. So I have built more than one landing pages in my day at Travefy. So 2 really important things when you're thinking about SEO. Sometimes agents will start building their website, and this is literally the last thing they think about before they go live, and they just kind of rush through it. Don't rush through this. The site description, as well as the page title, the website title that we'll back up here in just a second and look at, are actually 2 of probably the 3 or 4 most important things you can do for SEO. So do not breeze past this, and don't just type in Joe's Travel. That's not going to help you in that way. So Stephanie, real quick, you can click save in this, but then go to the site tab. Edit there and site. Yep. And now where it says page title down at the bottom, page title is that top level item, that headline that displays in search results on Google or Bing. So what is helpful when you're starting to think about filling out the page title and the page description is to be thinking, what would I be searching if I wanted to find you and I didn't know your business name? What do you want users, what do you want potential customers to find you for? These are keywords that give Google or search engines traffic signals to send people to you. So for an example, my business name is Scott's Luxury River Cruises. One thing that I don't really want to do is actually what Stephanie's doing right there, Scott's Luxury River Cruises. In many instances, if you want to be found in search results, using that as your first terms is not going to help you. Now, what would be helpful, I'm in Omaha and the Midwest, and I serve river cruises. So you could put something more to the effect of luxury river cruises serving Omaha, Nebraska. It needs to be short. So this is more of like your slogan in there. I would recommend 3 to 5 words maximum in there. And so serving actually, in that case for SEO purposes, isn't helpful. So we would just put dash luxury river cruises, Omaha, Nebraska, something of that effect. This is very surface level. So if you are an SEO expert, I'm just scratching the surface. There are many more things you can do of like digging into search keyword terms and things like that to really start getting in further. But the page title should be essentially 3 to 5 words, your slogan that you want people to know what you're for. So not slogan as in like what everyone thinks of a slogan, but I mean in terms of brevity, the size, the how short it's going to be. So that's the page title. Now, if we save that and go into the SEO site description, this is more like your elevator pitch. This needs to be literally like a tweet, like 135 characters, 144 characters. It gives you just a breath to be able to expand and explain what your business is all about. So in this case, since Stephanie's focusing on family travel, it could be family travel, Disney and Universal serving Omaha, the greater Omaha, Nebraska area. Things like that might touch on budget friendly or other things. So don't keyword stuff, but touch on the things that are really important to you and what you focus on, what you want people to be able to find you for. Now, the SEO site description is important. What's even more important is the content that's on your page. And so when you start thinking through the text and the content information on the page, search engines do look at that and they try to make sure that everything flows together and that you're not trying to kind of keyword stuff and kind of game the system to get higher rankings. They'll actually start penalizing you for that in that way. So think the main method is think about how you want how you want users to find you, and what are those key terms or keywords that you want them to find you with.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And you can see too, I love how we have this search preview. So you probably recognize this because when you've searched things before, it looks just like this. So I love that also. So you can see what it's looking like as you're building that and you'll know, oh, that's too long. That's too short. My keywords are not front and center. So really cool there. The other thing that's nice is a social media image. I'm just going to drop one in and explain what this is actually doing here. So I'm just going to choose this image here. But you know how when you link, like on Facebook, is the best example I can think of is when you copy a URL and you put it in a post and how that photo comes in automatically. That's what this is doing. So that's why it's also really important to put a really good picture here that's going to be represented for your website as like a snapshot of what they're seeing. So I think that's so cool that we have this built in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that. And then we do have an FAQ on SEO too, because we totally understand SEO it's not like a lot of people like, why would you need that? So, but it's very important. So definitely check out that FAQ that we have too in there. But thank you so much, Scott, for that, because that was brilliant. See, that's why I pulled him in. It's perfect. Two more things I want to do, though, is I do want to talk about domain masking, because I've seen a couple people asking about that. So domain masking is obviously the URL they're going to go to. So if you don't change anything, this will still work. So if I publish this website, basically the website's just going to be travefy.com/website. So it's going to already link. The link will work. So you don't have to have a special domain. But if you do own a domain, so if you already own it, like I'm going to give an example of buying it from GoDaddy or Square, Google, there's many different places you can buy a domain, and it's fairly cheap too. You can get one for like, sometimes $10 for the whole year. But you just go buy your domain outside of Travefy, you buy it there. And then once you own it, what you can do is you can click this set up your custom domain. But it also lives in your if we go back out to our account here, it lives in your account and settings. So you can also check that. So you can set up a domain in here. Now, two things too, is that if you already own a domain and you have a website already, you can still use this, and you would say, I already have a website. So then what it's going to do is it's going to subdomain it. So that way you still have your website, but then you can also have it branded on here. So it'll say like trips dot, your url.com, or you can use this as your main site. But I will preface though here that we completely understand that this is not something that people are used to doing. So we actually have, if you ever want to schedule a training with our team, we can help you set it up. We've been doing it a lot now, so we're getting really quick at it. And honestly, if everything works perfectly fine, it takes about 5-10 minutes tops. So it's very quick and easy to set up. But definitely just register with our team. Actually, I'll have Bonnie or Scott, if you can throw the FAQ in there maybe on just how to do that, so you know where to go. But our team can help you get that set up. And it's really cool. So then you have like a full-on website. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, I'll do it really quick so I make sure to get some questions, is I saw a question here as well that was asking how many websites can we create? As many as you want. So what you do is you can create pages.
Quick clarification.
Yes.
One website.
Oh,
one
sorry,
domain.
domains. Yep. That's a good point. Yeah. One domain for the one website. Yes. But you can create more pages. So this is where I just want to really quickly touch on landing page. So a landing page is basically a standalone page. So you could consider this as a landing page because I don't have it linked to other things. It's just everything is just on this one page. So what you can do with this is super cool. So if you ever want to create a landing page for one thing in particular, like maybe you're booking, booking a river cruise, that's an example I'm going to show you here shortly. Or maybe it's a destination wedding and you want to have, create a one pager that people that person would go to, or that group, that party would go to and get all the information for them. You can do that. And that's what's really cool about this is all you do is right at the top here, when you're in your website builder, just click create new page. And then you have a brand new page that you can work with. You can also copy pages. So if you ever want to copy a page too, but see how I have a brand new page to work with. So I can start building something completely new. And then again, to mention like what Scott said is if you do set up your domain will stay the same, but you can change the page slug. So say, for example, it was travefy.com/river cruise. That would be what it is. So that's how you keep that unique. But really awesome. And I have an example here of what I've created in the past. So I'm going to drop this in so you can see, but here's a good example of just a landing page. So it's just really simple, but it's focused on one thing. Instead of just sharing my whole entire company, I'm actually just sharing a river cruise that I'm booking a group for. So I have a form in here. I have that itinerary. And if you want to watch me build this, we do have training on this. So I'm going to drop in that YouTube link. So a few months ago, Scott and I did this webinar where we literally walked through just how to set up a landing page. So I really recommend checking that out because in this webinar, we focused on starting from scratch and showing you what's possible. But if you really want to use it for one-off things like this is a cool, training to check out. And then of course, you can also check out our trainings at our help center. So if you just go to travefy.com/support, or if you're in your account, you can click the help button in the top right-hand corner here. And this will bring you in. And we have a lot of videos on the website builder too. And FAQs, of course, on all different things. So definitely check that out as well. And then you can see those. But I did it. I am so proud of myself for keeping that in a good time so I can help answer questions now.
Yes. Questions. We're, we got a lot of questions come in. Okay. So here's one from Regina. Can we have a page titled groups and then have that link to any of our ongoing group trips?
Yes. So what you would do, what I would recommend in this case, and Scott, you might have another idea, is what I would do is I would create, you'd have that page. So untitled page, but I'm actually going to call it group trips. But you would make it better because SEO, remember that. And then what I would do is I would probably remove out most of these elements because I would just keep it simple. But I would bring in the element of the trip gallery. And here, let me just put it underneath this. And then that way you can keep a running list of your trips in here. So when you want to come in and add a different group trip, you can just click in here and then import that new one. And then they'll all live in that one page if you wanted to do. So hopefully that helped answer that one.
Yep. I had a few different people ask, hey, my host agency supplies a website for me. Can I just import that into Travefy?
So you won't be able to just import it into Travefy. There's not a way to do that. But what you can do, I mean, you can easily copy and paste the things and rebuild that. And I know that sounds like you're like rebuilding it, but I mean, it's really easy to do as well, choosing which element you want and trying to reflect that back and forth. But
it's, yeah, to echo Stephanie, it's really not too bad. What I usually recommend agents to do, pull up your website, your existing website, whether it's through your host agency or if you've built it yourself through another tool, pull that up on one side of the screen. Then pull up Travefy on the other side of your screen and recreate the core elements. So what I advise you not to do is if you have this really big, complex 30-page website, don't try to rebuild all of that in Travefy. I would 99% of the time strongly caution you, do you know how much traffic you're getting to those 30 pages? Most of the time, you're not getting any traffic to those pages. Focus on 2 to 3 pages maximum to recreate your website with the core elements. So typically a really, really good homepage that's very enticing with clear calls to action, not cluttered, not confusing with the information, clear, consistent themes of what you do. Second page for like destinations or services that you offer. So those types, like literally highlight different destinations, the different types of services or excursions, and maybe a page for like specialties, if you want to, that doesn't really speak to the destinations, but all those pages also could be combined, and then like a contact page or an about me page, something like that. Keep it very simple. A lot of advisors will bite off more than they can chew, saying, I'm going to do all of this stuff. And it's a lot of work setting up a website, because you're producing all of that content. Start small, and then you can just add in one page at a time, add in one page at a time, add in one more page. Just kind of stage it in that approach, and it's much, much more manageable to do versus creating this huge, huge website right off the bat that way.
Mm-hmm. Really important. And I, as Scott was saying that, I was bringing up this example that we have a real website, and I really like what they did here because they have that destination. So just like what he was saying, and how they have all the different things in here, and even like these even click into different parts of the page. So this page is actually pretty lengthy, but you wouldn't know it based off of, being able to easily navigate it. So really cool there. I also did see a question here that I want to make sure I get to is there an additional cost to using this? No, this is part of your subscription. It's so cool. So all of these features, like everything that we've been talking about, we're going to continue talking about today, they are all part of your Travefy subscription. So if you are new to Travefy, you can go to travefy.com and start a free 10-day trial. And you also have access to all this. So if you want to go start a trial, play around with the website builder, you can. So all of it will be available to you. And then of course for pricing, we just do monthly or annual pricing. And it's $39 a month if you go monthly, and annual, you save 20%. And it's $31 a month. So really good deals there.
And another question in here, Judy had mentioned kind of a question and a comment. White page websites do not rank in Google searches, only the original host site, because they're considered duplicates. So just to clarify, these are not white page websites. So this is a website builder you're applying your domain masking to tell Google where this traffic should be attributed to. So just to clarify that, because a lot of host agency websites, it's hostagencyname.com/agent name or something to that effect, in which case you won't get any, if really any, search engine credit for that outside of like linking to your website, to your actual domain or to your actual website from that host agency site. So good clarification there. Now that brings me to a second point. A few agents have asked about, hey, how do I see analytics or reporting or things like that within there. So we have some limited reporting in Travefy under usage, but more importantly, we've heard a lot of feedback from agents, which is great, in regards to, hey, I have a Google Analytics account. I would love to plug that into Travefy so that I can actually see all my traffic, see all the which pages are working, what content's working, things like that. And that's coming very, very soon. So we're actually building in support for Google Analytics tracking as well as Facebook pixel tracking. So if you're building landing pages to support pushing traffic from Facebook into a specific landing page for a group trip or promotion, group cruises, things of that nature, now you'll be able to actually drop in your Facebook tracking pixel to track those campaigns for the results and the data to go back to your Facebook ad panel that way. So more to come here in the near future on that.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. It'll just really, again, so you can really track everything and have those options to do so, will be huge. I just want to say, Regina said, wow, 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 this has been worth the wait. And yes, and perfect timing as business of travels on the mend. It completely is. That's what inspired us to have this virtual event and really start from scratch and show everybody how you can do this and how this can help your business, using Travefy and all that good stuff, because travel is just, it's already booming and it's just going to continue to do so. So it's the best time ever to be in the industry, which is amazing. But looks like that is right on time. And of course, too, if we did not get to any of your questions, do email us or chat us in your account at, professional@travefy.com. I also want to share, though, later on, we have one more webinar and one party. So we have one more webinar with Scott is going to be presenting in just a little bit. It'll be creating a sales workflow with Travefy, which will be really good. Really,
it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. We're literally going to walk through how you can streamline your sales workflow and in that process, increase your sales output, literally increasing sales and conversions.
Yeah, big, huge. That's awesome. And then of course, that happy hour, join us for that as well. So like I said, you have one more presentation that will change your business and also a party. It's going to be a good day. Let's see if I can play my music. Hold on.
See if it works. Oh yeah.
It worked.
There we go.
We have the outro. Thank you so much again, everyone. And hopefully we see you in, I think it's about an hour.
Just an hour.
Yeah.
Don't
see you
don't
soon.
take too long. Be right back in an hour.
Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
All right. Cool.
Thanks, everyone.